alive? Is she alive? Is she breathing?
No.
Oh, this can't be real. Why did you this, Alex?
We're trying to figure it out.
You gotta think of a good story.
There's
Because
not
right
a good
now,
story.
like my partner said, all this evidence is not adding up.
Matthew realizes, too late, that detectives already know this wasn't an accident. He's not walking out of that room a free man. In the early hours of December 16th, 2022, St. Paul officers sped through the frozen Minnesota streets after a frantic 911 call about a woman found with a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
How can I help you?
I got a girl who shot herself in the head.
Do you think she found any help?
She's beyond.
When officers entered the small apartment, they found 32-year-old Alexandra Pennig unresponsive on the bathroom floor, a single gunshot wound to her head. Her boyfriend, 44-year-old nurse practitioner Matthew Ecker, was the one who'd called for help. At first, the scene looked like a tragic mishap after a night of heavy drinking.
Did she ever hurt herself in the past? That she was going to hurt herself or anything?
About a year ago,
A year ago? What did she do? What did she say?
took an entire bottle of diazepam. She's not the most stable person when she's drinking. I should have known.
She goes drink a lot.
She does.
Did you? Did you too?
I mean,
You guys went to 3 bars.
yeah, I had a bit today.
Okay.
And she's had a bit. And she drinks a lot. And I did today. And the time with the Valium, it was after. It was after a night of drinking for her. So I know that she's been sad.
Alex's family later revealed that she'd battled substance issues for quite some time and had struggled badly just the year before. When investigators searched her apartment, they found 6 bottles of pills scattered around and several open and empty bottles of alcohol on the kitchen counter. The autopsy would confirm this. Alex's blood alcohol level was .22, more than twice what's legal to drive in Minnesota, and her system contained a mix of 6 different prescription drugs. At first glance, it looked like a night of heavy drinking and medication gone wrong, a heartbreaking accident after an emotional night. But when Matthew was brought to the station to give his statement, the story began to shift in ways no one expected. At first, detectives treated Matthew as a shaken boyfriend who'd just lost someone close. But that calm sympathy wouldn't last.
Thanks so much for coming down here to talk with us. Just because of the situation and everything that is going on, I know you came down here voluntarily, and I really appreciate it. I'm gonna read you your Miranda rights, just, kind of go through that. So we'll go through that, and then we'll talk about what happened, okay?
People who are just witnesses don't get read their Miranda rights. That only happens when someone is officially being held and isn't allowed to leave, a rule that came from the Miranda versus Arizona case. What Matthew didn't realize was that the detectives were already suspicious and watching his every move.
Can you just start from the beginning, tell me what happened tonight?
So, we start from the beginning.
Yeah.
I was on my way to Roseau this morning to work in the ER up there.
Roseville?
Roseau.
Roseau, okay.
I got a phone call from Alexandra, at about 9:30.
Morning?
Yep.
Yesterday morning?
Yeah, yesterday
Okay,
morning.
okay.
Yep. She had a sorry.
Okay.
Interview for a job at 1 o'clock. I got to St. Paul about 1:40, so I sat and waited for her to get done with that. About 1:55, 2 o'clock, she let me in, and we just kind of hung out. Had a couple of beers, she had some Prosecco. About 7 o'clock, 7:15 maybe that evening, we just talked. We had, whatever, just talked.
Even though Matthew claimed he skipped work and drove for hours just to have a long talk with his secret girlfriend, the detectives weren't convinced for a second.
After the drink, and we went and met a friend of hers. Gus. That's how I know him. He's a friend of her boyfriend's, or ex-best friend, I guess, from my understanding. And I cannot remember the name of that bar that we met him at. We were there for a while, had one drink, talked with him. And he had said that her, again, on and off boyfriend was at, I don't want to say camp, as a bar. So we went there. And again, it was fine. We walked in, I sat down on one side of the bar, she walked across, sat on the flip side of me, and her boyfriend was here, and was there, like he was at the bar. And he had come up, started talking with her, things got a little bit heated. And so I, knowing what I got up earlier, got up and walked around and kind of stepped in between him, and he punched me. There was an altercation. I ended up falling to the floor. I think a bartender and one of the bouncers pulled him up and kicked him out of the bar. He left, and that was the end of it. We sat for about another hour. Had a drink, and then walked home to her place.
Surveillance footage seemed to back up Matthew's story, showing him at Camp's bar that night. Still, it raised more questions than answers. Definitely a strange way to spend an evening. Back at police headquarters, Matthew continued his story just as he had before.
After all of this had happened, we went back to then her apartment, roughly 2 o'clock, 1:30, 2 o'clock. She went into my backpack, pulled up the gun, and cocked it, and held it to her head, and started backing up towards the bathroom. And I asked her what she was doing. She said, "Don't come closer, just, if you come any closer, I'm gonna pull the trigger." And I was like, okay. And I don't know where this came from. It wasn't, I know there had been some issues with her boyfriend prior to this, but she seemed fine. You know, we were laughing on our way home. Everything was fine. And then I kind of, as she backed up towards her bathroom, I kind of followed her. And she then went in and shut the door and locked it. And I asked her what she was doing, and I heard the pop. And so, you know, I tried to get in. And my recollection here is that the door was locked. And I laid a shoulder into it after I heard the pop, opened the door, and she was just there on the floor. And honestly, it's ridiculous. I had medical training, I know what to do, but in that instance, I didn't know what to do. There's just a hole in her head, blood spewing out. I didn't know what to do. I tried to hold it. I moved the gun, and then when when I realized that, like, obviously there's nothing I can do at this point by myself, I got up and for some weird reason washed my hands and then tried to find my phone. I couldn't find my phone, so I found her phone, and that was when I called 911.
Matthew, what were you wearing tonight?
When that incident happened, I was wearing this.
Okay.
The detectives let Matthew keep talking, even though his story was already full of holes. Interestingly, it was the exact same version he gave to the officers at the scene, word for word.
I tried what I could.
So, and I know that I just have to because I got
Yeah,
a medical examiner.
I get it. Like, I tried to do what I could.
Okay.
And then I washed my hands. And
Then you wash your hands,
Correct. That's why I don't have anything on my hands.
and then you call the police.
That detail would come back to haunt Matthew later, but not in the way he expected. The detectives could tell there was more beneath the surface, and they started digging for the truth.
You guys weren't arguing or anything? There's no fight with you two?
Not between us.
You guys didn't get in a fight at the bar or anything, besides the ex?
I mean, her ex hit me,
Yeah.
and she was pissed at him about that. No, things were great. We walked back from the bar. Things were great. We were laughing. She was happy. This was so out of the blue. I have no idea what she was thinking. Things were fine. It was a good night.
The camera outside Camp's bar told a completely different story. They were clearly drunk, stumbling and swaying, but you could still feel the tension between them. At one point, Alex stopped, turned toward Matthew, and confronted him before walking off. As they approached the bar, he reached for her arm, and she quickly pulled away, looking irritated. No one could say for sure what happened that night, but one thing was clear. Alex didn't look happy. A few hours later, surveillance cameras showed the two of them entering Alex's apartment building together. As Alex walks out of frame, Matthew gives a small shrug, a gesture that quietly hints something isn't right. Still, for the moment, detectives choose to take his story at face value and let the questioning continue.
Let's just rewind a little bit.
Yeah.
Tell me about your guys' relationship, you and Alex.
It's been ongoing for about 2 years. I'm married, obviously, not to her. She was a nurse at the clinic that I worked at.
Where was that at?
Fergus, the walking clinic.
In Fergus also? Okay.
I got to know her there. And we had kind of a big physical relationship to start with, and then things kind of escalated. She moved to Arizona, and we kept in touch, and we kind of visited her.
Okay.
Visited her a couple times. And then in end of July, beginning of August of this year, she decided that she wanted to move back to Minnesota. So I flew down there, rented a truck, and drove her back. And our relationship is not something I'm proud of from that standpoint, but I care about her.
Okay.
I really do.
Did she know about that you were married? and
Oh,
everything?
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was absolutely known from the get-go.
You might be wondering how a married father of 4 managed to fly to Arizona, drive a U-Haul cross-country with a younger nurse, and still keep it hidden from his wife. Yeah, the detectives were wondering the same thing.
And you said when you guys went to the bar, you guys sat on opposite ends of the bar,
To start with, because her boyfriend was there.
but you guys knew that her boyfriend was there in the first place.
Yeah.
So why did you guys go there?
She didn't want, I don't know.
You know,
She wanted to. She's
show you off.
the
a
kind of
bit?
person that ruffles feathers.
Yeah. Okay.
And I sat on the opposite end because I didn't. She told me to sit there. We didn't want to do anything real crazy, but when she went around and he came over and they started arguing, then I came around and kind of jumped in between them this time. Because I mean,
time was that at, do you think?
12:30.
So at some point, were you gonna go sit next to her at the bar? I guess I'm kind of confused.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
initially, okay, the second they started, yeah, I would have absolutely
Okay.
gone out there at some point, but the second they started talking, and he was getting upset with her, then I went over and stood in between them.
Yeah.
That's when he, at least from what I understand, talking to people, he hit me, because I don't really remember much of it. I just kind of woke up on the floor.
And then you guys just walked home?
Up to this point, things between Matthew and the detectives had stayed surprisingly calm and polite, but that calm wouldn't last, because the detectives were about to turn up the pressure, one question at a time.
So,
I got this.
Matthew, let me just ask you this, and
Yeah.
I'm not judging
Yeah.
by any means, but did she ever want to tell your wife? Like, did you guys fight about that ever? Do you have how many kids? 4 kids. What are the ages now?
15, 12, 9, 5.
Wow. Okay, that's well.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, no, we have never had any significant arguments with that. I've been open with her and honest with her. She has been open and honest with me. We understand our relationship. This is not, I know how this looks.
I'm not judging you by any means.
I know you're not. They're just, I loved her, she loved me.
Still, no matter how confident he seemed, this father of four's version of events was about to fall apart, and fast. After leaving him alone in silence for nearly 30 minutes, the detectives walked back in, this time ready to go on the attack.
Understandable. The reason why we are asking about the timeline so much, and you know, you're a doctor, the blood in around her on the toilet in the sink was dry already
Okay.
when the police got there. So we're wondering, maybe is the timeline maybe just a little bit off? Because I mean, you know, as a doctor that blood doesn't dry that quick and doesn't start flaking or anything. And by the time the police officers arrived, they noticed that it was dried already. And
yeah, I mean, it's possible that I got up and went out and then came back and then went out again. I mean, it was not long. It was not long. I'm gonna be honest, I just, despite all of the training that I have, I didn't know what to do. It's a lot easier when it's not. It's just.
I mean, you think it's possible you maybe pass out at all?
It wasn't, I don't think it would have been that long.
Because that blood was starting to coagulate.
It was okay. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I may have gone, it's possible that I went out to try to find a phone and then came back and then was doing stuff and then went out to get the phone again. And I mean, I don't think I passed out at all that I remember. Pretty sure I didn't. But it wasn't long. I mean, it was not long. It was not a long amount of time.
The hits just kept coming. Earlier, Matthew claimed he'd moved the gun while trying to help, but the spot where he said he placed it was very telling, to say the least.
you took the gun before you did this, put your hand on her, you took the gun and put it on her chest, correct? Okay. And then, I guess you put the gun on her chest, but then when the police showed up, her hand was back on the gun.
Was back on the gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Did you maybe before you got up and, washed your hands and went to grab a phone, maybe you grabbed her hand and put it back on the gun?
I know I was trying to move her around a little
Okay.
bit. It's possible that I moved her hand over there. So
Okay.
it's possible.
Okay.
The position of the gun and the fact that he admitted to moving her hand were only the beginning of what detectives were about to uncover.
You're a doctor.
Yeah.
Okay, we do the same thing. We wear gloves, right? So we don't get blood on our hands or anything.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I have nails. He has horrible fingernails. I have nails where I get blood in my nails, right?
Yeah.
So you have your head like this with her. You're gonna get blood everywhere, correct?
I would think so.
And then you grab her hand and you put her hand back down by the gun, and her hand is completely clean. Her hand looks like my hands. There's no blood on her hand.
I can't explain that. I can't.
It wasn't just her hand that was spotless. The gun itself had no trace of blood. One investigator even described it as looking remarkably clean. Even with all the contradictions stacking up, Matthew stayed firm on his story, though his nerves were starting to show. The female detective then switched tactics, gently suggesting another version of what might have happened.
This is just what I'm gonna say to you.
Yeah.
And just because I'm about her age right now, so this is just me thinking, you guys had drinks. You guys had started drinking at 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got punched. You got humiliated in front of people at this bar, right?
I didn't care about that.
And then you guys go back and you guys start arguing, and she knows where this gun is of yours.
Oh, we didn't argue.
But this is just me. Let's just act like I was
Sure.
kind of what I'm kind of getting out of it, because again, I'm about her age. You guys get in an argument, and she knows where that gun is, so she pulls that gun, and she's pointing it at you because she's pissed because you're married. You have 4 kids. You're never leaving your wife. You've made that clear to her because you've already told us that you guys, she knows. And you're not going to leave your wife for her. And she gets upset because she has to be with this Shane guy and not you, who's this professional doctor who's great at his job, and she points this gun at you. And in self-defense, you guys are in the bathroom with this gun, and in self-defense, you grab the gun, and it accidentally goes off.
Oh my God, no. She locked.
When that didn't work, she began pressing harder, picking apart every gap and inconsistency in his story.
Have you done surgeries before?
No.
Okay. So, you know when you get blood all over your hands, and then you go into the sink and you, or the handle to the sink, right? There should be blood on that handle.
Yeah.
There's no
blood in the handle of the sink.
And there's nothing in the
I
sink,
don't know.
and the sink
I rinsed my hand.
the sink's dry. There's no water or anything.
No, I washed my hands in the sink. I did. I rinsed my hands in the sink.
Okay.
Even though Matthew told officers at the scene that he'd washed his hands in the bathroom, the evidence said otherwise. The sink and faucet were spotless, completely dry, and without a single trace of blood. Once again, Matthew had no explanation, yet he kept insisting his story was true. The questioning kept going in circles until the older detective finally cut through the act and told him straight. They knew he wasn't telling the truth.
You get there.
Yeah.
Just hear me out a second.
Yeah.
I've been doing this a long time, and so is my partner. And just like how you know that the job that you do, you're able to know things by your training, by your experience, all that. Okay. Same with us. So what we do is we try to follow we always look at these cases and where does the evidence take us? Okay. So we come into these with an open mind and just try to follow what we see, what we're hearing, what you tell the cops, what the evidence shows, right? I think you're a good guy. I really do. I think you got a family, you got kids. I still think you're a good guy. You were trying to do the right thing. But you have to hear me out and hear my partner out here. You need to think for a second, because she's just giving you a little bit of what we see here so far. And here's a girl that's right-handed, that takes a gun left-handed, that knows that there's not one in the chamber, so she cocks one in and puts one in the chamber, right? Yeah. You're not coming near her because she's got a gun to her head, but then she goes in the bathroom, really doesn't even need to lock the door because she's tells you, don't come near me with this gun, right?
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, evidence-wise, the blood in there was dried for quite some time. I go to a lot of these scenes, and I've been doing hundreds of them, and so is my partner, and I'm telling you, what I'm trying to do, this is like, because how old are you?
44.
44. We're a little bit closer in age than my partner is. You still have your whole life ahead of you.
I know.
But I'm trying to give you an opportunity to tell us what really happened there. Because right now, I'm telling you right now, Matthew, like I said, the evidence clearly shows what you're saying is not what happened. Okay? I'm a very straight up person, and I will be straight up with you. And that's why my partner said, hey, was there a fight? Did she point this gun at you? Were you struggling over it?
She didn't.
Matthew, I'm just telling you right now.
I know.
I examined that gun, and I've been to hundreds of suicides, okay? I examined that gun closely. The ME does an autopsy, which we'll do today.
Mm-hmm.
They determine close contact, they determine far contact, all that, okay? They can tell if it's a close contact, simple things like the recoil spring going off in the head, okay? Nothing is adding up there. And then like my partner says, you end up putting her hand back on the gun, which is not something that's normal.
No, I don't think anything that I did was normal. I don't know what normal is in that situation. I'm going to be honest with you.
No luck. Matthew still refused to back down. Frustrated, the detectives stepped out, likely waiting for new forensic updates or simply giving him the time to stew in silence. When they came back 15 minutes later, Matthew's story had suddenly changed.
So, the change that I have, and I was scared. After this had happened, and I maintained that the shot went off behind the boat door. I was not in the bathroom when that went off. I will maintain that until the day I die. I did take the gun and I put it in my suitcase. I got scared for a second. I didn't know what was going on. I took the gun. I may have put it in the holster. I don't remember if I did or not. I put it in the suitcase, went back, looked to her, and said, yep. Went back to the suitcase, grabbed the gun, and put it back there. I don't know what my plan was there. I don't know what I was thinking. I got scared for a second, but that's what I did.
Did you clean the gun off?
I did not clean the gun off.
So there's going to be blood inside the holster and blood inside the suitcase?
There should be. If there was blood on the gun, there should be. That's all. I didn't clean the gun off.
Investigators didn't find any blood on the holster because it wasn't in Matthew's suitcase or backpack like he'd claimed. Instead, it was sitting on the kitchen counter, clean as can be. There was no blood on the clothes in his suitcase either. That left two options. Either Matthew cleaned the gun before packing it away, or he was lying yet again to throw the detectives off. Either way, his final version of the story didn't change a thing. Before the interview ended, Matthew made one last attempt to defend himself, insisting he'd done nothing wrong and that the door would somehow prove his innocence.
Okay.
I heard the gun go off, and that's when I opened the door. Was that door locked? Is there damage to the jamb? Is there anything? I laid a shoulder into the door to open it.
To be honest, Matthew, the one thing that I'm not really concerned about the door.
Ironically, it was that very door that ended up sealing his fate. After the interrogation, investigators carefully moved Alex's body and discovered a broken piece of the door's lock beneath her, likely snapped off when Matthew forced his way inside. That single detail revealed the door had been broken open before she was shot. But at that moment, detectives hadn't told Matthew what they'd found. They still gave him one last chance to come clean.
And you're going to stick to that same story that that door was closed, even though you're looking at your 4 kids, you're looking at your wife, and you're telling me when you're looking at these 4 adorable kids and this wife, you're still saying that you love Alex. Well then...
Of course I do.
And I don't know what else to... I don't know what else.
But with the story you're going, look at your family, you're looking at life in prison compared to give us what happened. Could easily explain something that happened to maybe, who knows, no time, based on what the story you tell us. I don't know. But the story you're giving us right now, I'm telling you right now, dude,
I don't have a story.
Okay.
Well, remember, you told us you didn't have a story, and then you knocked on the door and we came back in and you told us about the gun.
That was a change. That was the only change. That's the only thing that I did. I was scared and that was stupid and I get it. That was
Why
dumb.
wouldn't you have told us that right away, though?
I don't know. I was scared.
I'm
scared now.
Even after you figured it out, after you realized I better put the gun back, you think that would have been something you wanted to tell the homicide investigators right away?
I'm sorry.
A jury eventually found Matthew Ecker guilty of second-degree murder, sentencing him to 30 years in prison. His legal team quickly filed an appeal, but on April 21st, 2025, the conviction was upheld. Even now, Matthew insists that the door was shut when the gun went off, and that Alex was the one who pulled the trigger.